Today I want to talk about a movie that is near and dear to my heart in a pretty sick and twisted way. But before we talk about that, we need to discuss Tim Burton, and by discuss I mean paraphrase his Wikipedia page. Timothy Walter Burton is a film director known for his unique style, which can be clearly seen throughout all his films. The style can be described as delightfully terrifying, landing in a weird spot in the uncanny valley. I'm like 90% sure Mr. Burton here has Dr. Seuss's ashes hidden somewhere that he snorts before making a film. You might know Tim Burton by his many works, which include but are not limited to Batman, Sleepy Hollow, The Night Before Christmas, Corpse Bride, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Wait, really? Yeah, wow, apparently he directed that. And of course, Beetlejuice, which is the topic of today's video. I really enjoy this movie and the characters, especially the main man himself. To prove this, here's a picture of me outside the haunted house for this film at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights last year. It was absolutely awesome. I highly recommend if you have the ability to go to Halloween Horror Nights, go to Halloween Horror Nights. It's so much fun. Lastly, before we get into the meat of this video, it will contain spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and then watch this video. Our story begins with Adam and Barbara Maitland enjoying their vacation at home, which honestly doesn't sound like that bad of an idea, especially since their house is the size of fucking Nebraska. Look at this shit, it's massive. Adam is a pretty nerdy guy who made a scale model of the town they live in and who's played by Alec Baldwin. I am not shitting you. This is in fact Alec fucking Baldwin. This is what Hollywood does to you kids. Stay away from that shit. Barbara, on the other hand, is just a normal human being trying to cope with the events around her. Neither character is really odd or unique, and I think that's intentional since they're just normal people trying to deal with the chaos around them. After we're introduced to our main characters, Barbara is pestered by her neighbor to sell the McMansion they live in, saying it's just too big for two people, to which Barbara tells her no and to kindly fuck off. They then go into town for some random bullshit where Adam gets this old man to tell a story to nobody and then embarrass him about his old age. But don't worry, he doesn't die first. After grabbing what he needs and embarrassing the old man, the couple heads home to continue enjoying their at-home vacation. But this is a movie about the nonsense of the dead, so someone needs to fucking die. We're already 8 minutes in, and the closest thing we've seen to death is this dementia-riddled old man. So the couple swerves to avoid hitting a dog and ends up in a very precarious situation, which I'm just going to show here because it's way too hard for me to explain. We then see Adam and Barbara return home, only for them to be extremely confused about how they got home and what's going on. Adam, in search of answers, leaves the house and ends up in a Salvador Dali painting, only to be pulled out by Barbara, who says he's been gone for hours despite only mere seconds passing. She then shows Adam that they no longer have any reflections by using the power of late 80s special effects in all its weirdly charming glory. We're then shown a handbook named Handbook for the Recently Deceased, which Adam mispronounces. Probably to make light of the situation at hand or because he got the wrong prescription. I honestly think it's quite ridiculous that this man still has vision problems in the afterlife.
Recently diseased.
Deceased.
Trying to come to terms with everything, they consult the handbook for answers, only to find out it's arranged like one of those magician handbooks where you have to think like a magician to read it. We then cut to a dark room lit up by candles and a mysterious stranger reading a newspaper with Adam and Barbara's picture in it, only to cut back to the couple adjusting to the afterlife when they are disturbed by their neighbor who was trying to get them to sell the house earlier, where they find out the living won't see them. Oh, by the way, their neighbor did sell the house, which honestly makes me think that she's the villain of this story. Bitch didn't even wait till the memorial service. The next day, the couple wake up to find a family moving into their house, consisting of a husband, a wife, and a daughter played by Winona Ryder. As they're moving in, we find out more about them, like that Lydia here is goth, Delia is a terrible sculptor, and Charles just wants some peace and quiet, which honestly, man, I feel you, but Lord knows you ain't getting it in this film. We then meet Otha, who's an interior designer and apparently an expert in everything that pertains to the plot, who comes in through the window instead of the front door saying, quote, "Bad luck!" Otho and Delia then go through the house determining how much of it they want to burn to the ground like a wicker man. Our ghost couple tries to scare them in a series of visual gags that I probably get way too much enjoyment out of, only for the point to be reinforced that the living won't see the dead. I really like this scene because it sets up the conflict perfectly and tells us everything we need to know about these characters and how to feel about them. Adam and Barbara, in frustration, leave the house back into the Salvador Dali painting and are chased by Dr. Seuss's nightmare back into the house where they see the new family trying to enjoy dinner to what seems like no avail.
My whole life is a dark room.
So profound. The next day, we see movers and construction workers doing shit to the house, where we get a good look at Delia's affronts to God and all that is holy. Adam and Barbara are understandably pissed by this and consult the manual to find an advertisement for a bioexorcist fallout, and because English is a bullshit language, Adam reasonably mispronounces the name at the bottom.
Beetlejuice, the bioexorcist.
We then see Lydia outside taking pictures for some reason, wearing a placemat on her head. She looks up and sees the ghostly couple in the attic and asks about it, only to find out that nobody else could see them. Lydia, now armed with the skeleton key and curiosity, goes up to investigate the attic. As she tries to unlock the door, an advertisement for the movie's namesake appears on the TV for the ghoulish couple, proving that Michael Keaton cannot lasso for shit. Considering all this shit to be an emergency, they consult the handbook, and for the first time in this film, it actually proves useful. They draw a door on a wall and walk through it, causing a massive green glow, which catches Lydia's attention. She then goes to her dad, who's getting off the birds or some shit, and he tells her to fuck off. He then looks around the neighborhood from the blinds like a total creep and sees nothing but dollar signs as he hatches a plan to buy the whole town. Cutting back to Adam and Barbara, we see them in the waiting room of the afterlife, which is the reason why I'm making this video, because I just want to talk about this scene for a minute. We have a lady who's cut in half, a hunter with a shrunken head, a fat dude with a chicken bone lodged in his throat, and a charred up smoker in here. That's not the worst of it either. So apparently in this universe, if you off yourself, you end up a social worker in the offices of the dead, which is clearly shown in this scene with Miss Argentina.
If I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have had my little accident.
This movie is rated PG. I just want you all to remember that. The rating of PG-13 was implemented in 1984, and this movie came out in 1988, and it still got the rating of PG. Anyway, even in the afterlife, there's still a shit ton of bureaucracy, and every worker here is off themselves in one way or another, adding to the really dark but honestly pretty comedic tone of the film, which I love a lot.
How do I look? There are no mirrors on this side.
Fine, look fine.
Yeah?
Fine.
Thanks. I've been feeling a little flat.
Barbara and Adam then enter an edgy teen sketchbook and see what happens to ghosts that are exorcised. This will come up later in the film. This is called foreshadowing. This is why Tim Burton's a great director. Anyway, they then meet their agent Juno after they end up back in their home, and Juno here tells them that they've been waiting for 3 months. She then tells the couple to stay simple with the hauntings, gives us some exposition regarding the movie's namesake, and presents us with the best visual gag of the whole film.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Juno is my favorite character in this movie because she seems like she's just had it with everything. After she fucks off elsewhere, we see Charles calling his boss, begging him, basically sucking his fucking dick to come to their house because buying the whole town would be profitable and shit. Adam and Barbara take Juno's advice of keeping it simple and put on sheets with eye holes to no avail, as, let's be honest, if I saw this, I'd probably just think, drugs. They're then caught by Lydia, who takes a picture of them thinking it's her parents getting freaky together. When she looks at the Polaroids, which really should not have developed that fast, but, you know, fuck reality, it's a movie, she sees that there's nobody under the sheets. Winona Ryder here then delivers the line that I've seen on almost every basic bitch's social media.
I myself am strange and unusual.
The ghost couple then explains shit to Lydia in the attic, and their found family bond grows. The couple, trying to figure out a way to get rid of the family, notices a strange light coming from the model of the town and decide to investigate it by saying the name of the movie 3 times. This shrinks them down and puts them in the model near the graveyard with a big lit up tombstone. They decide that the best course of action is to dig up the grave and get the dude out of his coffin. The coffin shakes, rattles, and rolls, and out comes Beetlejuice, the fucking namesake of the movie. We're more than halfway through this shit, and he now appears in all his ghostly glory. And because my own description will not do this character any justice...
Babs. You know how to pick 'em. Let me ask you something. Is this relationship really solid? Do I have a shot at her at all? No.
You don't have to kill anybody.
Possession. Good. Learn to throw your voice. Fool your friends. Fun at parties.
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that.
I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think?
Come on, don't go yet. Hey, guy, come on. We're simpatico here. Look at us. Huh, we even shop at the same store. Hey, hermano.
Adam and Barbara are obviously very reluctant to trust this complete and utter pervert despite the fact that it's his fucking movie. Despite their protest, Beetlejuice insists that they hire him and get the Dietzes out of their house.
It's showtime.
What the hell is that? Hey! Get the fuck out of here. This gag isn't supposed to happen until the end of the video. Fuck off. Beetlejuice. Man, don't you just hate it when you can't time a gag in a video properly and you accidentally summon a ghost? Anyway, Barbara says home 3 times and they go back to normal size and appear outside of the model, which pisses Beetlejuice off as he delivers the line I've heard in many a video from the channel, Civvy11.
Nice fucking model!
After this, we cut to the family and some guests having a dinner party, where the topic of ghosts is brought up, and Lydia states that she's seen some ghosts in the house, which is met with an awkward silence before her mother tries to shut her up. This topic piques the interest of Otho, who is apparently a paranormal investigator in New York. Anyway, as Delia tries to change the topic, one of the best scenes of this movie begins.
I would rather talk about
This scene is just so iconic, and the use of Harry Belafonte throughout this whole film is just mwah, sublime. Another thing I would like to mention here is that while writing the script, I'm watching the movie at the same time on my second monitor, and because I have headphones in, I can actually hear both the music edited in and the actors actually singing Deo, which just adds so much more enjoyment for me, because I can hear the actors singing. This means that on set, all these actors were just dancing and singing with no accompaniment. And imagining that just makes my fucking day. The party then gets a face full of shrimp before we cut to Barbara and Adam waiting for the party to scatter out the house in fear. But instead of that happening, Lydia knocks on the door and says that the party wants to see the ghosts because they all have dollar signs in their eyes now. The couple obviously doesn't want to oblige, which prompts Delia to storm up the stairs and attempt to strong-arm the ghosts into doing fucking party tricks or whatever, I don't know. The door swings open and they all get a good look at the attic, more specifically the model town and the handbook which Otho takes with him. This is called foreshadowing. I should really do ASMR. As the family plus Otho walks down, they encounter this abomination, which I have a t-shirt of that I wear quite frequently. The snake causes general havoc and shit, along with giving Otho a nice slap on his shapely ass. Good on you, snake. He then eyes up Lydia because he's a fucking pervert before Barbara walks out and says his name 3 times to trap him back in the model. This horrific event prompts Lydia to run away, telling the ghost to basically fuck off. With Michael Keaton back in the model, he then tells the couple off for stopping him from doing his work. And then a brothel appears in the model, which gets his attention long enough for the couple to be transported into the offices of the dead. Here we see Juno with a football team that died in a bus crash, and I actually really like these guys. They have like 2 scenes, but they're just golden in my eyes. Juno, being the only voice of reason in this movie, chews out the couple for letting Beetlejuice free and revealing the fact that they exist. We then cut to Otho, Delia, and Charles just chilling outside contemplating how they're going to sell the ghost to Charles's boss, who's coming soon. After this quick scene comes the darkest fucking moment in this whole film. I know the movie deals with death, but holy shit, this feels like a bit much. Lydia is in her room wearing a black veil for some reason, writing her suicide note while crying about being alone. PG, folks. This movie is rated PG and has a scene where a young girl contemplates suicide. You could just get away with anything back in the 80s, couldn't you? Anyway, after that episode, we cut back to Juno chewing out the couple, and before she sends them off, she asks to see what they're going to do to scare the Dietzes out of the house, which is when Adam and Barbara turn themselves into abominations/marketable plushies. We then see Lydia in the attic with her note calling for Barbara and Adam, which is when she sees a Hollywood actor in his natural habitat, a whorehouse. Lydia and him play a game of charades so she can figure out what his name is before being interrupted by Adam and Barbara, where Lydia gets the ever-loving shit scared out of her, which is honestly a pretty normal reaction. Barbara then explains why being dead is absolute ass convinces Lydia not to off herself. This heartwarming moment is then interrupted by the Dietzes and Otho, who are moving the model downstairs for a sales pitch. We then see Charles trying to convince his boss to buy the whole town, to which his boss replies that they came to see some fucking ghost, not a half-ass sales pitch. Otho is then consulted because he's just a fucking jack-of-all-trades, master of not being able to pleasure his wife, and he suggests a seance. He reveals that he has the handbook and is able to summon them for Charles's boss. For the seance, they need something personal of the ghosts, to which Delia is reminded of their wedding dress and tux. With the whole crew surrounding the table, candles being lit, and the handbook at the ready, they begin to conduct a seance to summon Adam and Barbara. The seance is successful as the couple appears in their wedding attire and begin to decompose because, surprise, this isn't a seance. It's an exorcism. To stop this, Lydia consults the ghost with the most for assistance, to which he says he'll do it if she marries him. Again, this movie's PG, folks. Emaciated ghosts, suicide notes, and child brides, perfect for the whole fucking family. Anyway, she agrees, and we see Michael Keaton go wild with his character. Also, small detail, but you can see the green screen effect when he's talking to Lydia. Just a reminder that this movie was made in the 80s. This whole series of events is just magical, and you can tell Michael Keaton is really enjoying himself here as he terrorizes everyone. My favorite part here is when he catches Otho walking like Bigfoot and puts a polyester suit on him. I don't know why, this just makes me fucking laugh till my sides hurt. With his job done, he changes into a red suit, and with Lydia now in a red dress, he prepares for his wedding. He then forces Delia's abominations to come to life with the express purpose of holding witnesses in place. He then Tim Allen Santa Clauses the chimney, which summons a ghost priest to officiate the ceremony. With the Maitlands no longer decomposing, they try to say his name 3 times to trap him again. They're thwarted, and Barbara is sent to the Salvador Dali painting and confronts Dr. Seuss's tapeworm, which she then rides into the house to... well, I guess he can't really be killed. To neutralize the group. With the villain stopped and the Dietzes finally able to see the Maitlands, the ghost priest fucks off, and we jump cut to what I'm guessing is like a month later, where we see Lydia getting home from an all-girls school, which has fucking cows for some reason. I don't know, it's fucking Connecticut, nobody knows what happens there. We then see the whole family and ghost couple get along in a happily ever after, with Lydia singing Jump at the Line by Harry Belafonte as the movie ends. Also, this is mentioned in detail on the wiki that Michael Keaton gets his head shrunk in the waiting room. Completely useless, but I just thought I should mention it. So, with the end of the film comes my opinion. I fucking love this movie. Despite the dated effects, it's still a pretty effective story and walks the line between horror and comedy so perfectly while still remaining somewhat PG. This is quintessential Tim Burton. If you haven't seen it, then go watch it, because I don't feel like my own review can capture the true madness of Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Ah, fuck. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you like my channel, please subscribe. And with a lot of dumb luck, I'll see y'all next time. That's it for now. Bye. This recording blanket is fucking boiling. It's like, oh wow, it is 82 fucking degrees in this room. I don't know why nobody in New Mexico has any air conditioning at all.